Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles podcast. My name is Erin, and I've got a crafting podcast for you today. So I'll go through acquisitions, finished objects, and things that I'm working on this month. I don't actually have a lot of acquisitions or a ton of finished objects, but the ones I do have are fairly big finished objects, or at least one of them is. So I'm excited to show you those. I'm really excited to kind of just get into the crafting zone over the summer. My day job, because YouTube is not my primary source of income, my regular job is as a school librarian, so I do get the summer off. So I'm excited to just have some crafting time, maybe even do some crafting outside, just really kind of enjoy the summer weather and taking things a little bit more slowly. So I think it'll be a really great summer for crafting. Let's start with acquisitions. The only acquisitions I have actually are crochet hooks. And it started with me just needing this one, which is a 3.75 millimeter hook. I prefer the Susan Bates style hooks, the like kind of pointed ones. I think they're called inline hooks because of the way that the hook is formed. So it's called inline because the hook doesn't like jut out from the body of the crochet hook, but this is the one that I actually needed. And I needed it because of a project I was working on, and I had a hook this size. I had this exact same one. I brought my project, which was sitting in this basket, inside from outside, worked on it for a few minutes at my desk, and then suddenly my crochet hook completely disappeared. Could not find it anywhere, had no idea where it was. I like pulled out every drawer of my desk, I pulled out the bins under my desk, I checked all of my other project bags. Somehow my 3.75 millimeter hook completely disappeared. So I had to get a new one. And while I was getting a new one, I went ahead and got some Susan Bates hooks in sizes I didn't have. So this is the 9 millimeter. And then I found a little pack of 4, 5, and 6. 4 millimeter ones are probably the ones I use the most, so I thought having an extra one would be good. But I didn't have a 5 or a 6 in the Susan Bates brand hooks. So those are my only acquisitions for the month. And it purely came out of losing my crochet hook somewhere. I'm sure now that I have actually unpackaged this and opened this, the crochet hook will appear. But then I'll have 2, which is fine. Let's talk about some finished objects. So one of them technically is a like almost finished object. And this, along with my other finished object I'm going to show you, are actually going to be a tutorial coming out probably sometime in July. I thought I just found my crochet hook for a second, but that is in fact my other 4 millimeter one. So this is a granny stitch project, but it's actually a short sleeve sweater that is crocheted all in one piece. And this obviously is a Christmas version that I did with Hobie Christmas sock yarn. So you start kind of up above like where the back of your neck would be, work out in the granny stitch pattern, and then when the sleeves are big enough, you start working the body in the round instead of doing increases. So this is a really great way to use variegated yarn or self-striping yarn because it won't disrupt the striping pattern. It does look a little funny with the Christmas one because the stripes don't quite line up. But if you look at the back, the striping pattern is not disrupted at all, which is very cool. I came up with this idea a couple months ago because I actually made a purple version of this not too long ago, so I have already talked about this design. But I made the purple one because I really wanted a short sleeve sweater for Lent and Advent, and I had yarn that was a lavender to black fade that I wanted to use. And I wanted a short sleeve sweater so that I could wear it kind of in all seasons and be able to layer it over long sleeve if needed, or wear it over something sleeveless if it was warm out, because Lent, sometimes if it goes later into April, it could potentially be really warm out, and most of Lent and Advent is usually really cold, so I wanted it to be a good layering piece, and that was why I also made it in the Christmas colors, kind of for the same reason. Even though it's usually cold in December where I live in Wisconsin, Sometimes with like holiday parties at people's houses or out and about, it gets really hot with the number of people in the room. So having a Christmas sweater that was short sleeved, I thought would be a good fit for those types of occasions. The other version of this that I made used my Door County yarn, and this one will actually get its own vlog, so I won't talk about this one too much because that video will also be coming out in July. But I used my 4 colors of yarn that were dyed specifically for Door County. So it was spring, summer, fall, and winter, inspired by kind of the fruit wines and outdoor scenes in Door County. And this one also, I wanted to use this set of colors in a garment that I could truly wear all 4 seasons. I realized summer might be a little bit of a stretch because it is wool, but since it's short sleeved, I can throw it on over a tank top or wear it in the evening when it gets a little bit cooler out in the summer. My last finished object is another Sophie scarf, and this was purely just a TV knitting project. I had 1 skein of this green metallic yarn from Ice Yarns, although I think I got it on Amazon or from a thrift store, I'm not really sure. So I made this little Sophie scarf. It does kind of read as very like holiday looking because of the metallics and the green color. So I thought it would be cute for winter things or even like a New Year's Eve gathering type of occasion. But I know that they're overhyped at this point, but I do still love the Sophie scarf pattern. It's a really clean way to use up a single skein of yarn, and I really enjoy wearing them a lot. So I will probably keep making them with all of my little random yarn skeins that I can't use for anything else for all of eternity because I simply do not have them in enough colors. Moving on to things I'm working on. So the aforementioned project where I lost the hook. Making 2, or now 3, of those granny square cardigans was not enough. I decided I wanted to do a mesh version. So from this one, you can kind of see how the shaping works up at the beginning before you split the armholes. And I'm pulling my loop out because it does not have a crochet hook in it. And so it looks like a square with a split in the middle. And that's kind of how you start the motif for the sweater. And I wanted a mesh one because this is a cotton skein. It is also from Hobbii. It's Hobbii Twister, so it's 55% cotton, 45% acrylic. And it's also a fade yarn, so I wanted to do something that wouldn't disrupt the fade and would give me a nice summery cardigan. I wear kind of browns and olive greens and even yellows quite frequently now, so I wanted a versatile piece that I'd be able to wear. Speaking of Hobbii yarns, because I know someone's going to be thinking of it, I am aware of the drama going on with Hobbii right now with AI, and I don't think it's a company that I'm going to be ordering from in the future because of that. However, I'm not going to not use the yarn that I already have in my stash. So I had purchased that from Hobbii, I believe, several years ago. But I just wanted to acknowledge that, especially because at the time this is coming out, I will have talked about AI in my previous podcast episode where I talked about everything that I read in May. So I just kind of wanted to put that disclaimer out there. I do still have some Hobbii yarns in my stash, but I don't plan on ordering from them given their the way that they handled using AI and how kind of dismissive they were of the crafting community who had concerns over it. In addition, like, I haven't been interested in their products for a couple years now. It's been a long time since I ordered from them, but I've also just been decreasing my stash as is. I don't do big yarn hauls anymore. I realized that that wasn't sustainable and I was running out of space for yarn, so I don't plan on doing a big order anyway. And with Hobbii, you kind of had to do a big order if you were living in the US in order to get free shipping, and I think those numbers have changed because of other stuff that's going on. So yeah, just wanted to put the disclaimer on there of I know that it's Hobbii yarn, but it's because it has been in my stash sitting on the shelf for 2 years, not because I recently purchased from them. Moving on to some other whips. There's a new one that I started, and I was actually pretty proud that I was able to pick colors for this one using only things that I already had in stash. But this is actually a Christmas tree skirt for my brother. So he has his first house too, just like I do. And he actually ended up with my grandparents' Christmas tree. And my grandmother decorated her tree all in shades of pink. So the tree skirt that she had was not something that fit in my brother's house. So I had offered, kind of off the cuff just at one point, that I could make him a Christmas tree skirt. I was saying it mostly jokingly, as in like a don't feel like you have to use the pink Christmas tree skirt that was already available. But he was actually really interested, so I decided to go ahead and make one for him. And I'm using the 6 Day Star Christmas tree skirt pattern and scrap yarn. So these are all some sort of worsted weight acrylic yarn. It was just stuff that I had, and I picked shades of brown, red, green, cream, and blue, kind of to the blues and greens and browns are kind of to match the furniture that he has in his living room, and then I included kind of the rusty red to make it a little bit more holiday looking. But overall, he has a fairly like neutral leaning color palette with blues and greens is kind of what he goes for, so I wanted to kind of keep that present in the Christmas tree skirt. It does kind of remind me of a cape since I keep holding it up, and I know there was a trend a couple years ago of people using Christmas tree capes as costume, or Christmas tree skirts as costume capes, so that is kind of what it reminds me of. But overall, I think this is turning out really nice. I think he'll be excited about it, and I'm excited to give it to him. So that's been a nice kind of not super chill project, because that is one where I have to look at the pattern for every row. It is a memorizable pattern, but I find that I need the reminders every time I pick it up of what the next row is, especially because there are different numbers for things in every row. So I tend to have that up on one side of my computer screen with the pattern and something that I'm watching or listening to on the other side of the screen, just to make things easier. But I do really like the 6 Day Star patterns. I know those also had some drama a couple years back, but I do really like them, and I like that they're available for free, which I think is really nice, and I've never had issues reading the pattern or anything. So highly recommend those, and there's a lot more variations to it than I originally thought that there were. So there's the Christmas tree skirts, there's the blankets, and then there's some other items on there as well. Other works in progress. What else have I... Oh, I have my sweater down here. So this is a sweater that was in my like whip purgatory for a while of it wasn't getting finished, it wasn't going anywhere, it just sat for a long time, and I pulled it back out. So this is my sweater that I'm making with Lion Brand Mandala. I forget what color this was, but I alternated 2 cakes of the same colorway that started at different points to get the striping of the body, and I kind of just stopped when I was happy with the length, and then I let it sit forever because I didn't know what I wanted to do with the sleeves. I wasn't sure if I wanted the sleeves to just be solid color, but since it was a raglan, I thought it would look kind of funny that the sleeve would essentially go to like where it splits and then have a different color palette. So instead, I decided to cut all of the remaining yarn and separate it by color. So basically like dismantling the cake so that I had individual colored balls, and I am color matching the stripes for the sleeve to the body as I work down. So right now I'm working on the purple and yellow. I'm also just doing a decrease in the sleeve every 8 rows. So the last row of every purple row for what I'm working on right now, just so that I'll get a little bit of a taper to the sleeve. It won't be quite so boxy. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side to kind of color match, but I did think that that would be kind of the cleanest look for doing the colors on this sweater. And I have no idea what pattern I used for this. I think I followed a YouTube tutorial for how to start a raglan sweater. I know that I used Twisted Rib for the collar and for the hem. So I'll do that on the cuff of the sleeves as well. But I don't remember what pattern I used for this. I just wanted a very oversized, comfy raglan that I could kind of wear like a sweatshirt. And it definitely is very oversized. It'll be loose fitting when I wear it. But I've been enjoying working on that sleeve now that I have figured out what I wanted to do with the sleeve, which was very important. Other whips. I have not worked on my ranunculus very much. That one has kind of also gone into whip hibernation. But you can check previous episodes of the podcast to see what that looks like. I don't even know where it is right now. It might be over by the couch, by the TV. But I've kind of, in preparing for summer, I've kind of moved to a model for crafting where I kind of keep a different project in every room that I tend to kind of hang out with. So the raglan sweater is currently my basement project. I usually have a project that I can take outside with me, and usually those projects are like single container things. So this will be my outside project for now. And then I always have a to-go bag of projects, and that's my turtle bag that's sitting behind me that I'll show you in a minute. But the turtle bag has also become my living room couch projects. We kind of did a tech upgrade in the last year. We used to only have my laptop in the basement that kind of functioned as the everything computer, for lack of a better word. And we had my husband's really, really old laptop that really did not function anymore. And we were able to kind of use some coupons and take advantage of some like Black Friday sale things to get a desktop for down here. So I no longer have the laptop that I was using. I have a traditional like tower desktop situation. We got a Chromebox desktop for our bedroom because we don't have a TV anywhere except for the basement. Sometimes it is nice to be able to watch a show as we're falling asleep or taking a nap or something. And then we also got a Chromebook, and the Chromebook kind of lives in the living room, and that has kind of become the check emails computer, because it's, you know, you can do something real fast before heading out for the day without disturbing somebody or coming all the way down to the basement. But since summer has started, that has also become my one of the spots where I watch YouTube or watch a movie on one of the streaming services or whatever. So all of this is to say that my to-go bag of projects has now also become the living room bag of projects because I have been sitting in there more than I typically do. And because of that, I actually have 2 projects going in this bag. And the idea of this bag is that it's one that I can grab and go because, like, if I have friends going out for drinks or going to, like, sit outside at a park, I like to have a project that I can take with me. So it's always something that's pretty small and compact and something that I can work on without a pattern, or at least most stages of it can be without a pattern. So for a very long time, the only project in here was this pair of socks, which up until, like, yesterday, I was halfway through the heel flap and had just stopped because it's, this is a pair of socks for my father-in-law, so it's not the size socks that I usually make. Myself, my mom, my mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law, we all have the same size shoe, so that size, the way that I make socks, I have memorized because I make that size so frequently. But for my father-in-law, I didn't have the numbers memorized, so I kind of stopped halfway through the heel flap, like, a couple months ago and didn't pick it back up. So I have since finished the heel flap and finished the decreases on the foot. So now I'm back to just working in the round kind of endlessly. This is going to be a big sock. So this is now back kind of in the phase of it's a project that can be on the go. But while it was still kind of in that heel zone, I also started another Sophie scarf. Are we surprised? No. This is a cotton Sophie scarf that I actually was making with the idea that it would be a really cute wrap headband for the summer since it is all cotton. And did I throw away the label? I might have thrown away the label unless it's Aha, it's in a different pocket. So this is Barocco Medina, and I somehow ripped the label in half so I cannot see the color. Oh, the color is just a number. It's 4792. And this is a cotton acrylic viscose blend yarn, but very lightweight, very fun to work with. It's a marled yarn, so it has multiple colors running through the strand at any one time, but then also has this subtle and kind of random striping pattern. It doesn't seem to follow an exact pattern. Like sometimes the like pink goes to purple and back to pink, and sometimes it just continues on through the colors. So it's kind of a funky striping yarn. But this is my true like mindless project, because at least until I start the decreases, I don't even need to count rows. So that one has been kind of, when the socks are not in a zone where I can work on them mindlessly, I work on the Sophie scarf and vice versa. So that is the first project or progress I've made on those socks in a really long time, which is good. But it is 100% because I'm home for the summer now and kind of just doing random stuff. I think that's it for this month. I do have a lot of plans for things that I want to do over the summer. I know I mentioned last time that I want to knit stuffed animals of Frog and Toad, which I'm really excited about. I have the tutorial for that short sleeve cardigan coming out next month, along with a vlog of doing the Door County version of the sweater. And I think that's going to be it for today. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did like what you saw today, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want to follow me on other social media sites, that information will be in the description box. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.